Great having you here. I guess I wanted to start off. You just got back from Las Vegas, I think, and
It was actually Texas.
it was Texas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Houston, wasn't it? And you had Caitlin, one of your students, fighting for a title fairly quick in her career, I think.
Yeah, she's been fighting at amateur level for a very long time. She hasn't worked with me for very long, but she's had many coaches over the course of her career, and started coming in for grappling classes. And I've only been in her corner twice, but she began, I believe, quite a long time ago, fighting in the local New Jersey, New York scene. And she's been in the UFC now for quite a while too, mostly fighting on undercards. But she's just been one of those very consistent performers who just worked and worked and worked. No one really took much notice for a long period of time, and then suddenly she was fighting for a title. So she's had an impressive career.
What's that like to go? I mean, you've done this many times with George St. Pierre and Chris Weidman. And what's that whole process like when you go to the UFC event and you're in the back room in the corner? Are there butterflies? Do you get used to it? Do you have a process?
Yeah, for the coaches, there's not really much in the way of butterflies since we're not the ones in danger. How the athletes react to it is very, very different. And you see every extreme, from some people who look like they're going for a walk in the park to other people who look like they're getting ready for, a fight to the death. Caitlin is very much the more relaxed, laid-back approach, which is one that I personally favor a lot. I prefer to see athletes treat even the most extreme forms of competition in the most laid-back way possible. I often talk to my athletes about the idea that the ideal is for them to go out into the biggest fight of their life feeling like it's nothing more than another day of sparring in the gym, as though there's nothing exceptional about it. When you look at a professional athlete going into a fight, there's the athlete gets pulled in different directions by different people. The promoters of the event want the athlete to go out thinking this is literally the biggest event of their lives. Like, this is something super normal, which is going to define who they are for the rest of their lives. That's the atmosphere they want.
Because they think that will get the best?
Yeah, that's going to get people pumped up, full of adrenaline, who they're going to come out and bam, first, early knockouts, early submissions. What the promoters are looking for are those precious and very elusive what the fuck moments where the audience just looks out and goes like, what the fuck just happened? Like, something crazy just happened, but they'll never forget for the rest of their lives.
Just burns it in.
Yeah, that's what they want.
Right.
Now,
and they want the trash talking, hopefully, before.
Yeah, that just builds it up and makes it even better.
Right.
So they're looking for a spectator event, but what's the athlete looking for? Victory.
Yeah.
Okay, so one guy wants a spectacle, the other guy just wants victory. Now, victory can come in many different guises, but the safest ones are the lowest risk methods. So the athlete looks for the lowest risk method of victory, whereas the promoter wants the highest risk. And so they get pulled in two different directions between what the promoter wants on the one hand and what the athlete wants on the other. Now, of course, the coaches go with the athlete. And so somewhere in the middle, you find the compromise that which actually works out. And my thing as a coach is always to downplay the situation, to get athletes thinking, there's nothing exceptional about this. This is just another day at the office for you. The only difference is there's some silly lights and some people in an audience watching you that you don't even know and you won't even see once the lights go on. It's just a cage, just like the one in the gym, same dimensions. There's a person across the cage who you probably haven't fought before in most cases, but all the movements, all the techniques, the strategy will be identical to what you do in the gym. So you get this divergent path between what the promoter wants, where this is something completely abnormal, something exceptional, versus what the athlete and the coaching staff push for. This is completely normal. This is what you do every day, and that's the split.
And there's tension usually between those two, and
yes.
you have to just ride it out.
Yeah.
All right, so you're there to keep the athlete calm and make sure they focus on the win.
In most cases. There are a few athletes who do better psychologically with that idea that this is something different, and they want to rise to a different kind of occasion. But I think most people perform best when they're at their calmest and most relaxed. Think about something you do every day, driving a car. Do you drive better when your heart is pounding and you're nervous? I don't think most of us do. Most of us do our best work when we're pretty relaxed and pretty calm, and we feel we're doing the same thing that we do every day. Stress is it's a very, very interesting phenomenon. There's some ways in which physiological stress can improve performance, and there's many ways in which it can detract from performance. It's this double-edged sword, which it can do great things for us, and it can do great damage to us. And trying to find that right path between being too relaxed for a fight, where you're just not effective, versus too amped up and becoming clumsy, short of breath, lacking dexterity in your movements, getting tunnel vision. These are all problems that athletes have to deal with. Yeah. And somewhere you've got to find the right compromise between physical excitement and alertness and the destructive side of getting too hyped up for a fight, where you get into adrenaline dumps and tunnel vision, etc.
Can you condition your fighters for those experiences, or is it very hard?
I think the best thing is just experience. You try to get them in there and doing the right thing every time. There are some things you can do for less experienced fighters in terms of building small routines that they go through in the training gym every time they go out to train, and then taking those same routines and employing them before they go out to fight. So, for example, they might go through a simple set of routines on how they tie up their gloves, how they put on gloves, how they put on their outfit, jokes and laughter that we run through in the gym and running over them again before they go out to fight. Small psychological cues that create a routine in one place which is familiar, and taking those same routines and employing them in another place which is unfamiliar, so that you take the familiarity of the gym and take it to a new area and hopefully calm the person down in that way.
What about visualization?
I think visualization is a very vague term. It tends to get thrown around like it's an antidote to all problems. To be honest, I've always found once the referee tells you to go forward and fight, all the more esoteric elements of visualization, meditation, and all these things tend to go out the window. It's much more about your physical training preparation. That's what's going to give you the ability to proceed in a satisfactory fashion once the action starts.